Hello there. Small disclosure before we begin. The video portions of this game of Dragon Quest are going to be sped up at twice its normal speed, as well are highly edited. And to keep things as well as I can make them, I do not have the original game audio being played as much as I will have the original game's music being played. I am sorry if that is an inconvenience, but as this is the first part, and it's still 18 minutes long and highly edited, with a lot of fights taken out, I wanted to get this thing done sometime before next year. Hello there, I am Jog, and welcome to Dragon Quest on the Switch instead of the NES. Now, before we get started, this is going to be played at double speed. The game is, just to make everything easier. Hilltron, bloodline of Eric, legend, have I awaited thy coming? That you're the wave of the ancestors did receive the almighty sphere of light. By power of the wall, the menace which it did bested, alas, in past years, a new threat, the Dragon Lord. With his cunning he stole the light and plunged the land into darkness once more. Should the state of affairs continue, the realm shall perish, so hero of the bloodline, go defeat the Dragon Lord. Your quest, wilt thou also take care of my daughter? Save her. No doubt your knowledge, blah blah blah, got us to victory. Go forth! Yes, well, as the game begins, we can talk to these guys, just get some basic information about things, such as the fact that we cannot open a door without having a magical key. So we need to go to open up the chest to get ourselves a key, but we can also talk to these guys to learn some more about the land and whatnot. Such as the fact that the Fair Princess was captured by the Dragon Lord, and the Fair Princess is all the king has to comfort him, or maybe not comfort, but give him solace? I guess it would be the princess. The princess was taken as the queen has eventually passed away. Now, as we leave the castle and enter the town, we can talk to this guy to get ourselves some items, such as a shield or a set of armor. I suggest getting one of them, it doesn't matter which, but I also suggest, even though I didn't do it, going to the bottom right of the town. Inside a building, you'll find another merchant who will sell you things such as medical herbs, torches, and dragon scales. I suggest that you buy a dragon scale and equip that, as the dragon scale will give you some extra defense as we go out here to fight monsters. Up in this small section of the game, or portion of the game, you'll mostly just find slimes and she-slimes. You'll find the occasional draggy, and as we head further north, we can find some more threatening monsters, but the more threatening, the more experience, and the more gold they give. And we need experience so that we can level up. Speaking of difficult enemies, I can find myself up here a ghost, which can be taken care of, but he is quick and was able to dodge a bunch of my attacks. Also, something to point out is the fact that you start off with a bamboo spear in your inventory. Make sure to equip that, as it will help you in these fights, especially early on. Now, as we continue searching around the area, do not go to the very bottom of the mountain/cliffside in this small section. That has what I would call level 2 monsters. Right now, the slimes and the she-slimes are what I would call level 1 monsters. You want to be fighting them until we get to at least level 4. But as we just hit level 3, we now got ourselves our first healing spell, that being Heal. However, we cannot use it without magic, which is something we don't automatically receive when we level up. While our magic's MP stat did increase, we did not get any. So by talking to this guy, I can get refilled, as well as use my heal spell to heal me up. Also, if you go to a town to heal, you can also get your magic back from that. However, upon reaching level 4, we can now head over down to the bottom of the mountain and find ourselves the level 2 monsters, such as that Draculite, I think it was called. You want to use your magic spell Sizz on these monsters, for the plain fact that these guys are, I would say, a jump in terms of difficulty, but they give you a decent amount of experience and money for this portion of the game. So much so that I almost got enough just from finding a few of them to almost buy myself the Copper Sword, which, whether or not you want to get all of the armor and weapons in a particular area is up to you. Now, if if you ask me, I say do not waste your time buying the sword. I do suggest going down here and grinding off monsters a bit, as there is a better weapon, and even technically a better armor set and shield that we can find in another town not all that far away from here. However, I would suggest at least getting the leather shield at the very least, if you're going to get anything. That and the dragon scale. Anyway, as I was saying before, if you want to try and save money, talk to the guy getting your magic back and using your magic to heal yourself, and talk to the guy again to get your magic back is a great way of doing that. Now, there is a map button. I want to say it is the X button on the controller, but from that we can actually see the map, and from the map I found a town up here that will sell us the Iron Axe, which is the next best weapon, Chainmail, which I had more than enough for, and an Iron Shield. I'm going to tell you right now, do not waste your money on the Iron Shield. We can get an Iron Shield later on for free, assuming you're willing to, I guess, rough it out a little bit. I think it's worth it, rather than grinding for the 800 coins just to buy the shield. Especially because, again, we'll get one for free, and money is not the easiest thing to come to in this section of the game. We will be able to get grind for cash easier a little bit later on. I say a little bit, that's probably going to be much later on, till the next episode. But right now, just focus on more or less your survival and exploring around. And such as we explore around, we can find ourselves a cave here. There was another one back near the castle and all that. Don't worry about that. There's nothing there. I'll show it off later. But right now, as we go in here, you can find the level 2 monsters and the ghost, who I would claim as a level 1 monster, a high level 1 monster. But if we go in here, we can find this guy, a lunatic, who, if I was to describe the level 2 enemies, the scorpions, I would say, are pure physical. They are very defensive, and I would say probably have a high amount of attack, where the lunatics have a bit of both, being magic and physical, and those guys right there, who I just call the mages, would be mostly magic-based. Now, whether or not you decide to go through that little dungeon cave thing right now, or if you decide to wait like I did, is going to be up to you. Again, if you're going to go... Again, I didn't say it the first time, but if you decide to go through that little cave, I suggest at the very least getting yourself the axe, that battle axe or whatever from the other town. Also be careful, as you can see out here in the desert, while I would say this top section, even the mountains up here, the top section is what I would consider the easiest part of the game. The top and the very middle of the castle is. You can still find some of these Croat level 2 monsters just lying around, so you do want to be careful. But either way, as we go over here, we can find one of these sages, as I believe they're called in the game, who are out on the walls, who are actually here to help Eldrick, or I guess in this case his ancestor, who I named Hero, out on their adventure. However, this guy will not help us unless we bring him an item, a harp that actually can be used to summon monsters. I don't know why he wants it, but it's what he wants us to get, I guess, to show our courage and whatnot. And before I forget, well, first thing, full plate armor. That's going to be the best armor piece you're going to find on the easy section of the world. However, it's very expensive. I don't think it's worth getting it here. We can find that as well as another armor set later on. I actually would buy the full armor there, and then eventually later on buy the other armor set. Mostly because, as I said before, money is not too easy to get right here, but it will be easier to get later on. But before I forget, your name at the start of the game, the creation, will actually, not predict, but will dictate what your stats are going to be when you level up. It's complicated to, I think, describe, as much as I would say just go and search it up on Google. But more or less, different names will give you different stats. Some names will have more HP and more strength, but less magic. Some will have greater agility but less speed, and blah 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 I don't think I have to really describe how all the stats work and all that, like MP is magic, HP is health, strength is how much you hit for, but I want to say it's also how much you get, how much you take when you get hit. Magic, as far as I can tell, is only for, there is no magic stat now I think about it, as your attack will always do pretty much a base of like 20 damage every time. Also, King, only way to heal, not heal, only way to save in the game. So, you want to save, you talk to the King. You die and you game over. Thankfully, you do not go back to your previous state. If you die and game over, you go back to the King's throne room. But you will lose half your coins. So you are not going to be thrown out into the rain if you played for like 3 hours and died. Thank Christ. Otherwise, this game that's pretty long to start off with would be a lot longer. But yeah, as I was saying before, there is no magic stat. Your magic will always do a set base, which is both a blessing and a curse, I would say, because if you go to a new area, your attacking magic will always do 20 damage, which, whether it be a level 1 or level 5 monster, will always do 20 damage. So if you go to a new area and your sword is only doing, say, 12, you're best off using a magic. Like here, our attacks right now, because I'm using the bamboo spear, the weakest of all weapons, did not do too much, but using my magic is pretty much a one-hit KO on them. And I don't think I've said all the stats, HPs, blah blah blah. Agility, I think the only use for agility, well, agility I want to say has 2 uses. 3. 1 is how likely you are to hit the enemy, 2 is how likely the enemy is to miss you, and 3 is how likely you are to flee from battle, if you so decide. I don't know exactly how it all works out. Whenever I tried using it in, I would say, higher ranked monsters, it never worked out too well for me. Also, before I forget, most important, if you go into a cave, you will find stronger enemies. The further down you go, the stronger the enemies. So I would classify these guys down here to be level 3 enemies, where the first floor was where I say level 2 was the high level 1. So you do want to be careful. This is why I was saying before, you might want the Battle Axe, as right now, while our magic is really good, we don't have enough MP to more or less make our way through all this and back out alive. Especially when healing magic takes 3 points of magic. Also, something you're gonna notice is that enemies sort of, basically color palettes of one another. So, there is a set number of monsters, but they're gonna have like 5 different variety. So, yeah, I think we've already pretty much seen most of the enemies in the game, to be completely honest. I can think of maybe 4 or 5 that is not about the final boss that we might have left to find. So, yeah. Also, important thing, as you see right now, my cash is almost 2,000. Obviously, it'll go down when I buy myself the Iron Axe, that's what it was called. If you have, say, 1,000 gold and you don't want to lose it by potentially dying, you want to go back to the first town next to the castle and put that money into the bank/deposit area. I did not show that off, but it's in the place where the inn is. That's a place where you can store items that you do not need or do not want, as well as money, but increments of 1,000. Considering as I said before, that full plate armor is going to be 3,000, and there's even more powerful and more expensive stuff later on. It is going to be in your best interest. Okay, I did do this. It will be in your best interest to put some of this stuff away. Anyways, this guy was telling you about the marsh, which is that purple area. I don't think I talked about it, but I did walk into it just to show it off. You take damage, I think it's like 1 point of health for every step you take. So, yeah, you want to be careful, as it could add up depending on how things go. Also, because I now have the Battle Axe, the scorpions that were a bit of an issue for me before are now dying in 1 hit. That just goes to show how much more powerful I am using the Battle Axe compared to some bamboo spear. Also, this way, I didn't go this way the first time, and I'm not missing out on anything. There are a couple rooms like this in the game that are like small little dead ends that I feel like are more or less set up for the idea of grinding on the higher level enemies, such as that ghost or the level 3 enemies in this case in general. I guess if you want to get yourself either more familiar with the enemies that lie up ahead while also staying close to a staircase, which, I mean, I could do right here. Or if you're just at the point where you are just trying to find a place to level up and, or, yeah, either a place to grind for money or grind for experience. That door up there, you can't do anything with that unless you have a magic key. Meaning that you could always come back to this dungeon later on if you don't want to take care of it now when we get ourselves magic keys. I don't really think it's worth it. Like, by that point you're going to be probably a bit overpowered. Well, maybe not, depending on how you decide to take care of things, but like, if I had myself the Iron Axe earlier, I don't think I'd be at level 8 right now. I'm pretty sure if I was at level 5 I would have been fine enough. Also, those 2 chests contain things you want. The Seed of Strength and the Seed of Magic. If you ever find seeds like those, use them immediately. They are essentially free experience, well, I guess free experience / free level up to a specific thing, be it health, magic, whatever else. Anyways, as we came down here, this was more or less the main thing we were coming down here for, that Warrior's Ring. In the base game I've heard it does nothing, but I want to say in this one, it will give you, like, +5 to your offense, while the Dragon Scale will give you +5 points to your defense. But anyways, the main thing I more or less came down here for was the Iron Shield. As I said, we would get one of those. It was at the end of the dungeon, but it is still a free Iron Shield. So that's 800 coins I did not have to waste. And I don't think I said this before, but I was playing this on Twitch, doing this as a live stream without any audio or whatnot, so I do apologize about the text that's going to be on screen. It doesn't happen all the time. But yeah. I don't know, there might be some funny one-liners and whatnot. Also, I don't know why I kept that part in there. I really should have edited that part out, but oh well. We pretty much got everything we need out here in this dungeon. All we have to do right now is leave. And as we leave, we're gonna want to go back to the right-hand side of the map. And somebody there talked about something like south of where their village is, their town was. So that's where we want to go. And I actually didn't do a good job of showing this up. I do apologize. But south of town is where you'll find this swampy, marshy bog, whatever. I'm losing my track in mind. Anyways, we go through that to go to this cave system here. Very simple. Literally, don't waste a torch or anything. Just literally hit down and follow the left side wall until literally you'll find a staircase. It is literally that simple. And we get to the other side. There is more to that dungeon, but we'll worry about that later on, as we are nowhere strong enough to take care of what is actually inside that dungeon. But either way, we want to try and be careful, as these would, I guess, would call level 4 monsters. Heal up and more or less aim to get to that town. That is your main mission right now, get to the town.